What is going on, everybody? This is Audible Sportscast. All right, we got Jeff and Brett here. How's it going, Brett?
I'm very excited to do this today.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of fun games to look at for Week
Yeah,
Five.
it's pretty exciting.
We got some really good ones. We got some doozies. We got our first international game in over a year now, since there wasn't any because of COVID. So it'll be fun to look at a lot of these games. So let's do just that. So for last week, for Week Four, for the most part, we all picked pretty well. Brent and I, we went 11-5. Cody ended up going 8-8. But for the most part, we all had non-losing picks. So let's see how good we do this week with a Week 5. So let's start off Thursday night football. Rams Seahawks, tough NFC West divisional showdown in Seattle. The 12s are going to be loud. How do you see this one playing?
I gotta go Rams. They're gonna bounce back from last week.
Yeah, this is a tough one, especially considering it's in Seattle. Seattle played, somewhat well. I mean, 49ers looked a little more just troubled than the Seahawks played really well.
Yeah, but
But
the only person that I think is, if I look at roster versus roster, Russell Wilson's better than Matt Stafford. That's the only thing I see. That's it.
yeah, especially Chris Carson's banged up a little bit. We don't know, how he's going to play.
Seattle's always kind of a running back carousel slash God knows what.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll go L.A. Rams here too. You're right. They're just a more complete team. But I'm after how Matt Stafford played last week. I really want to see how he plays this week against a defense that might not be really good, but has a lot of key players: Jamal Adams, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, I think they're gonna come out and they're gonna try for those big scores.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of how their offense has been so far this year. They've just been hitting those deep plays, and you know you want to see how they're going to play in the short game too, and the run game. We're still kind of waiting for that run game to show up. Sony Michel didn't seem to do too much, since being traded, or traded before the season.
Typical
But
New England running back.
they come and
Ex
go.
New ex New England running back.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a really good game. It's nice to see a Thursday night game with some really good opponents, divisional game.
Yeah,
Those are always the
it's a
best. Prime
quality
time
game.
divisional games, those are always the best.
Yep.
But let's move on to the next game, and let's move all the way across the pond to our first international game, the New York Jets and the Atlanta Falcons.
I gotta
Th-
go
This
Atlanta.
this is a tough one for me because it's both teams that haven't been playing real well. I mean, the Jets ended up getting their first win last week, but I think even though they're both first year head coaches, you got a lot of veterans in that Falcons room that maybe not have played in a game like this. I'm not sure last time if Matt Ryan has ever played in London, but you
I'm
got
sure he has. I
I'm
don't know.
sure it's almost impossible not to play over there unless you're Green Bay, just because of the home field. There's some things with them and why they don't play over there, but you just look at that Jets team and it's really young. So how are they gonna fare playing over there? While they are, kind of have the momentum of a win against a Titans team, I just that I'll go Falcons here too.
The Falcons score more points.
Yeah,
Even being a bad team, they just. I mean, I obviously don't have the stats 100% in front of me. I'm just basing it off of what I see and remember. But I'm pretty positive they score more points, and they seem to be up in the 20, 30 points a lot. Granted, their defense doesn't play well, but when they're losing a lot, but they have
yeah.
the ability to score.
And if they want to win, they need to.
And I don't see the Jets having. I don't see the Jets scoring 28 points.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how that goes.
This is a tough week. There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh yeah.
games that could go back and forth.
Oh, definitely. And it feels like you're just going to get that every week from this point on. But make sure y'all wake up early for that game. What is it? 9:30 Eastern. So set your alarm clocks.
8:30,
Do it.
8:30 Central. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be, I think, one at least worth waking up early, a little early for. But let's move on to the next game. We got Green Bay heading to Cincinnati, Ohio to face off the Bengals. How do you feel about this game?
I
It's,
There's
it's
part of me that
another
wants
tough
to say
one.
the Bengals, but I got to go with the Packers just because Aaron Rodgers. And that's I want to see them lose, personally, but it's hard to pick up against them.
Yeah, and especially with like kind of how Cincinnati played last week against the Jags. I know each week is different, but you kind of expect them to play a little bit better against what some would say is a worse opponent at
Yeah, but
home.
a lot of teams play to what their opponent's levels are a lot of times.
True. I feel like this is a pretty good matchup though. You got, the Bengals defense isn't, I mean, is not, high tier, but it's still pretty good going against, the Packers offense. We all know what that's like. But then this Packers defense hasn't been really playing that well against a, young Cincinnati offense that has
The keys to the
been.
Bengals' success to me would be if they can get pressure on Rodgers, he tends to. I mean, just from what we've seen this year, he tends to get pretty flustered in the whole offense. Once that shuts down, the defense shuts down. So
Yeah, do you know any word on Elton Jenkins playing?
I think he's still out from what I heard, but
If he's out, yeah, I'm gonna go Bengals here. I think, the Cincinnati's D line's got some tough guys, and if Elton isn't playing, since they're already down Bakhtiari, I'm gonna go Bengals here, especially at home.
it could go either way. So yeah, it's a good
Oh
pick.
yeah. Um, but let's move on to another game that's has a lot of NFC North in it. It's another one of those doozies, back and forth. Uh, the Lions heading up to Minnesota to play the Vikings.
I think Detroit takes this one.
You think Detroit gets their first win of the season here?
I do.
I kind of feel like they can, but the way I see it is, we saw how Detroit played in Chicago this last week, and we kind of expected them to, stay with it, but that just,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't have much faith in either team. That's why I picked Detroit.
The way I see it is the Vikings offense has a chance to be high scoring. Does Detroit's defense have a chance to really stop that?
No, but yeah, I just don't. Both teams are so inconsistent. It's just
True. We saw what last week Minnesota only put up 7 points. I mean, I know they were going against a really good Cleveland team, but still putting only 7 points at home is not good.
yeah. This is just another one of those games where the coin could go either way.
Yeah, I'll go with the home team here. I think I've done no, not all home, but I'll go with the home team here, Minnesota. I just that offense should be able to put up a lot. I don't know. We'll see. It should be a good game though. Divisional.
It could be a really good game or a really bad game. Either way.
True. That is very true. But we'll see how that game goes. Let's move on to the next game. We got an AFC showdown. We got the Denver Broncos heading to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Now,
It's a tough one.
Denver struggled a little bit last week. We saw Teddy kind of go down, but I feel like no matter who plays quarterback here, I just that Broncos defense, it's pretty good, and Ben Roethlisberger has been pretty bad. So it's just I feel like that combination alone, I feel like I have to take the Broncos. But who knows? Maybe Big Ben figures something out. They give him a cane out there or something to help him.
Comes down to the defenses.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
both
go
are really
Denver
good
on that one too.
defenses.
Just Denver, just because I don't think Bridgewater's that much better than Big Ben currently, but he's still better.
He's playing consistent though. He's not making a lot of mistakes. There and again, the schedule was really easy,
Both teams
quote
have very
unquote.
inconsistent run games, so
Yeah,
you can't base it off that.
yeah. It's definitely going to be a defensive game. I don't know what the over under is on that for total points, but that might be a game you all look at for the under. If you do bet, not saying to bet, it's a very addictive thing, so be careful when you do that. But that's beside the point. But yeah, it's very defensive game, but I gotta go Denver here. You're going Denver too, right?
Yep.
All right. Next up, we got the battle of the best team in Florida. So we got the Miami Dolphins moving a little bit north to play the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Easy
But
one, I
yeah,
think.
it definitely is. Tampa at
Bucks.
home, not much to talk
I
about.
think it's gonna be Tampa's gonna come out firing all cylinders, and Miami, unfortunately, their defense might be okay, but their offense is poop.
Oh yeah, that Miami offense struggled a lot against Indianapolis at home last week, and not that Indianapolis is a bad team. It's just they've kind of that defense has played good. To be fair with Indianapolis,
It's quarterback play.
it's yeah offensive play in general,
Yeah.
definitely. So and the Dolphins have struggled the last 2 weeks.
Well, look what happened with Buffalo and Miami.
Oh yeah,
Just
once two. I mean, even when two it was playing, just wasn't looking good. Even though
the
he
Bucks
did kind
defense
of come
can
out
be elite
early.
when they want to be.
Oh yeah, we haven't really seen it much this year, but it can be.
They
It
have the
looked.
they have the personnel to do it in most position groups.
Now the secondary has lost a lot of players, so maybe look out for that wide receiving core in Miami is maybe not slept on, but under. Not a lot of people know about it. They went out and drafted Jalen Water, who's a speed demon, Will Fuller, a speed demon, Devontae Parker, who is a very consistent, reliable wide receiver for the most
Yep.
part. So don't sleep
But you
on
got to
that.
have someone to pass the ball to them.
Yeah, I mean,
And with Tampa losing last week, that's or no winning, they won but barely. I'm sorry, not losing. In my head, that's what I envisioned for some reason. But they played pretty crap last week, in my opinion. Like in a way, that's why I think I said it. I feel like they kind of lost that game, even though they won,
yeah, it
because
was
they had more talent than the New England did
yeah,
or
but
does.
yeah, this is definitely a Bucks game to win. But let's move on to the next game, which maybe of all the games the hardest to pick. I don't know about you, but we got the Saints heading to the the capital to play the Washington football team. Both
Yeah,
of
this
these,
this one's a tough one for me. I
oh
don't.
yeah,
It's
Bo-
tough.
both of these teams have just been underperforming like crazy. Like the Saints lost to the Giants in a kind of unexpected game, especially at home. Early in it we saw this kind of for week one, the Saints, we saw this really high scoring offense. The defense was doing good, but it doesn't seem like they can do a lot offensively in these last couple of games
Yeah,
compared to
I
what
mean, but
people
that was week.
expect.
I feel like that was weeks ago, and they haven't showed anything since then.
No, the defense has been looking, somewhat all right. I mean, we saw that against New England, but it felt like New England kind of shot themselves in the foot versus New England or the Saints doing much, even though they did play, good against New England. But yeah, just I said last week that if the Washington football team didn't win, I was going to stop picking them. But hey, they won. Both these teams are struggling. Once again, I'm just going to take the home dog here.
I gotta follow you on that one.
Yeah, just
I'm going with my. That was my first instinct when I look at this matchup.
yeah, I feel like Washington maybe slowly kind of figuring it out, maybe not. Who really knows with them? But we've seen what Heineke can do. Early in the year, we saw it kind of week two. So let's see what he can do this week.
Now, if Drew Brees is in New Orleans still, I'd pick New Orleans. But there's not.
Drew
So
Brees last year or the last couple years,
doesn't
or
matter. Drew Brees in general.
yeah, it's just that winning
But it's
mentality.
because right now you don't know. I can't tell you Heineke's better than Winston, but
Oh, who
they're
who
both
and who knows? Maybe this week Winston goes off and has like 300 yards and four
maybe.
touchdowns, but he
This
hasn't
is
really
one of the
been.
toughest picks this week for me.
Oh yeah,
It could
definitely,
go really either way.
definitely. But yeah, Washington. We both think Washington. So let's move on to the next game. Maybe a little bit easier one. We got the Philadelphia Eagles going to Carolina to face the Panthers, or to North Carolina, I should say. I mean, I know it's kind of the favorites, but
I'm picking the Panthers, but I just don't have any faith in Philly right now. They
oh
really
no.
just they're not. They don't show much of much to me.
Yeah, and while the Panthers defense maybe not struggled, but in the passing game, it let out a lot, especially there late in the game. It was really close, back and forth early and kind of mid, but that Eagles offense has been kind of struggling.
Yeah, I just look at here. If you take Sam Darnold over the years, has he ever had a receiver that put up stats like DJ Moore?
Robbie Anderson, I think, his last year in New York probably
Yeah,
put
but
up
I
similar.
mean, he's consistently getting, and I'm basing this off of what I can visualize in my head, which would be fantasy points, but still, it's 20, almost 20 plus a game, which
Oh
is
yeah.
nuts.
And while the Panthers did go out and trade for Stephon Gilmore, he's not ready to play quite yet. So it'll be interesting when he is ready to play how well that defense will be. I mean, he's a defensive player of the year in 2019. You're getting a for sure high level dude as long as he comes back from that injury he had. So it'll be interesting how that defense, if that defense can take another level and can possibly be a contender or at least
Yeah,
a
sometimes they
deep
just don't
playoff team.
work, even though he's great.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes it just doesn't work, so we'll see.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, Panthers I feel like got this one. Let's move on to AFC South showdown. We got the Titans heading down to Jacksonville to face Urban Meyer's 0-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you think this team rallies behind Urban Meyer through all of the controversy to get their first win?
No, they might as well forfeit.
Part of me kind of agrees, but at the same time, this Titans team has struggled a lot with injuries. I think what um, Tuesday, I forget if it was Tuesday or Wednesday's practice, but they had 21 players who were limited for injury, and a lot of them were very key starters, and that's partially what was one of the reasons the
Was
Jets
one
stayed
name
with it.
on that list?
Derrick Henry was not.
Exactly.
But Derrick Henry
That's
played last week too, and they lost to the Jets.
I don't know. If I were a team playing Jacksonville, you think they're a joke, and they might take him to. They might take him for that, or you come out and you're Derrick Henry and you say, "Oh, this is a cakewalk for 250."
I mean, Derrick Henry does love stiff arming the Jags. I mean, some of his best runs come from against them.
I just don't see how the Jags can rally together with. I'm sure some of the team is willing to give Urban Meyer a second chance. Some of the team laughed him off.
Oh yeah, I
So
mean, the other day at practice, they had like a little huddle thing and said like grind on three. Of course, relating to some of the
well, we also
dancing
haven't
that
heard
has
what the
happened.
other coaches think of this.
Oh no, I mean some of the coaches, or at least what looked like coaches, were kind of laughing during that too. So
I mean, once you lose even a couple coaches for that work underused respect, ah, it's just and the owners talking about he's got to rebuild
oh
the
yeah,
trust,
that's
which
not a good situation. Any way of looking at it.
I mean, I'm not going to get too much into the Urban Meyer thing because everybody's seen the video. If you haven't, just Google it. I think if he would have gotten caught with no video, people would be less harsh on him. But the
Yeah.
video explains itself.
Oh yeah, the videos. There's a
Yeah,
couple.
videos, yes. But what's the one thing that's interesting is the person wanted to get Urban Meyer because they started a Twitter account just to post it, and now it's gone. Even though he did something wrong, somebody was out to get him.
Yeah, I mean it's still though it's it's still what's all probably getting talked about in the locker room. A
It's just
lot of
not his first.
trust
I can
lost.
guarantee you it's not his first time. So
Oh no.
everyone being so shocked. I mean, I don't know for sure. I guess I can't guarantee it, but just by watching the video, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a first time offense for him, the way he acted. So
Yeah.
knowing just guys in general.
Yeah. I want to go Jags so bad for this, but that whole situation I can't. I can't. I gotta go Titans here.
See, I'm gonna roll with you on the Titans, but how do you make this situation go away? You win
It
this
do,
game.
it do, that is
Winning
true.
this, no, hold on, with your team. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Winning this helps you get your team back, I think.
Mm-hmm. And against opponent who's been
But
struggling.
but they don't have. I just see Jacksonville as a talent. Their talent is lacking.
I mean, with all the injuries, so is
And
Tennessee's.
some of the talent that they have is aging out, or they got rid of it. Like there's certain players like but there isn't. They don't have like that star effect on either side of the ball.
But yeah, this is a doozy. It's gonna depend on Derrick Henry
Do we need to talk
definitely.
about the next one at all?
Um, n- we'll talk about it a little bit, but yeah. So next one, the Patriots against the Texans. Let's not talk about it.
Well,
Although
hold on. The Patriots could lose. You never know. I doubt
this,
it.
with the way the Patriots have kind of been the last, year and a half or so, it feels like one of those games where maybe, but that Texans team is too bad for them to lose, especially how well they played,
It's just quarterback play. That's
and
really
their
what it
quarterback
is.
play has not been playing good.
No, they should be going to scavenge a veteran, but
Do you
what does that? It
remember?
doesn't help them. So
Do you remember Bill Belichick has not lost to like a rookie quarterback since 2013 or something like that?
yeah, I know. He usually schemes a pretty good defense for them.
This is the Patriots win, even though they
Yeah,
haven't.
I agree.
This might be even a bounce back game for them to get them in a good situation. Who knows? But yeah, Patriots over the Texans. Texans, that team's just a mess. But let's move on to a interesting game. The Chicago Bears and newly announced starter Justin Fields head to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. Does the Bears fan in you?
I can't not pick Chicago, even
I
though in a way, I want them to lose because I hate Nagy. So
I have troubles picking the Bears. I mean, you know, for us to win this game, we were going to have to be able to run with Montgomery. And now Montgomery's not going to be able to play because of injury. I would love to see Justin Fields just torch this defense. I don't know. Who knows how the game plan's going to go. I I'd love to see the Bears win it, but I just think this Raiders team is just, too complete compared to Chicago, especially at home.
all right. So you're telling me you think their defense is close to Chicago's defense? I don't.
Secondary wise is a lot better. They went out and got Casey Hayward, who alone is better than any
Yeah,
corner we have.
secondary, correct, but they don't have the linebackers or pass rush.
I
But
mean, Matt Crosby's been looking really good. They have Yannick Ngakwe, Carl Nassib, who's made some plays this year. I'm not saying it's maybe as good as how Chicago's front's been
and
playing, but
I know Derek Carr passes for a lot of yards. I'm not sold on any of his weapons except Darren Waller.
well, and who's going to cover Darren Waller?
Hopefully Roquan.
And they're going to put them on mismatches against our corners.
Oh no, I'm just I
Who has the
unlike
speed to keep up with Ruggs?
unlike Cody, I'm not very high on Vegas.
I
I
mean,
haven't
I,
been
I
all
feel
year.
like they're good, but this is definitely going to be a big test for
I
them.
don't feel like their running back play is much better than ours. Jacobs isn't. Everyone wants to like him, but when you have a slow running back in the NFL, that's what happens. Yeah, it's just in the new NFL. Let's say, let me rephrase the new NFL.
Okay.
It just doesn't work, and I don't think Jacobs gained speed like Montgomery did just from watching. He's still the same
Well, he's been
movement.
also having some injury problems
Yep,
even early. But I mean, don't sleep on Peyton Barber, Kenyon Drake too. They're backups.
they're both functional backups. Yes.
Yeah, I don't. I hate to do it, but I just Raiders. I could see a situation where the Bears win, but
Well, it comes down to Justin Fields,
oh
and
yeah,
I'm gonna put my faith in him and not Nagy. And
as you should.
I'm whoever is calling the plays, which I'm pretty sure Nagy just doesn't want to tell the world he's not.
Yeah.
And I imagine the Bears will pass the whole game, most of it. It'll be like 80-20.
Prop. I hate to say that, but probably, and it feels like one of those games where Nagy's going to forget about the run game, mostly because we don't really. I mean, Damian Williams is can.
He has done it.
Yeah,
Will he do it? Is the question.
yeah, we'll have to see. But let's move on to the next game, which I'm gonna say is the game of the week.
It's another tough one, man.
It's a tough one because of how good both of these teams are. But it is the Cleveland Browns heading to L.A. to face the Chargers. Yeah, like you said, it's another tough
I
one.
struggle with this one,
I
but
I kind of do too. Both of these teams are really red hot right now. Chargers have been kind of firing on all cylinders, But I think the thing that makes it up for me is Baker. There's some injury problems that kind of came out recently. He has a torn labrum. He's expected to still play and stuff, but
I mean, the labrum is a very integral part of your knee. So, oh wait, shoulder labrum
yes,
or knee?
shoulder. I believe
Because
in
you have one in
he's
your knee too.
throwing.
But that's where I know that came out. But and I like Herbert, but I'm gonna go with Cleveland for the off of just Baker playing in the NFL longer, having more just street smarts in the NFL.
Yeah.
I
Um.
want to
I.
pick Chargers, but I just think they're not there yet. They're close.
Well, you said that last time. Last time you said that they ended up beating the Chiefs, but besides the point.
I know, but the Chiefs are not as complete of a team as Cleveland. They
Yeah,
might
I
have
really
Patrick
want to
Mahomes.
see how Baker, or not Baker, but I really want to see how Justin Herbert plays with this pressure. I don't know the stats, but he's one of those guys that has been playing really well under pressure, and I want to see how well this revamped offensive line they've made for him plays against
I
this
mean, it's Lindsley,
defense. Rashawn
Braga.
Slater, the rookie from
I
Northwestern.
mean, they do have a way better offensive line than they've had in years.
Oh yeah, they
We'll
went
see
out.
what Herbert does under the pressure. Maybe he'll surprise me. I mean, they've surprised me so far.
I, I I keep going back and forth on this one.
It's a tough one. That's
It
one
is
of
a
the hardest ones
really
to look at.
tough one because yeah, this one's really tough, but I think it comes. I think the big thing is that Browns run game. They do it the best, and can the Chargers stop that run game? And I don't know if they can. So I think I agree with you, and I'm gonna go Browns.
Both good teams and will be
Oh
good
yeah,
teams going
definitely,
forward
and
in the future.
hopefully they play again later in the season and the playoffs. I feel like that might be a possibility here. But let's move on to the next game. An old division NFC East rivalry. We have the New York Giants heading to Jerry World to play the Dallas Cowboys.
Another tough one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Giants haven't really looked well. They've been kind of struggling with some injuries, but they just beat the Saints in their first win. Division game, it's going to be
These teams go
probably.
back and forth for years.
Yeah, they always have. But I just feel like the Cowboys right now are too hot not to pick. You kind of
If the
have to
word,
go Cowboys.
I'm probably gonna, I'm probably gonna pick Dallas. I am picking Dallas, but this is the type of game because of their rivalry and division they lose a lot
Oh
over
yeah.
the years. They just do. It might, it happens with Washington too. It also, Philly. It can happen with Philly as well. This division is always very jostled.
Yep.
Given that the Giants won last week, I'm not going to say they're going to win again, but I don't think. I'm not sure if the Cowboys are for real yet. I I've just seen so much inconsistency over the last 10 years of them playing. It's hard for me to really be like, oh man, they won four straight. After this game, I that doesn't have a lot of weight with me with them. But if they keep running the ball, we'll see. I guess
You know what? I might be crazy for this, but I'm switching to the Giants. I think the Giants are going to win this.
it's a tough one because does Dallas go win four straight? That's unlike Dallas to me.
I mean, yeah,
They tend to choke.
this is the Cowboys game to lose or to win, but I yeah, it's just the Giants are an interesting team. Like, Danny Dimes, he made some really key plays, throwing the
Yeah,
ball deep to win it.
and Barkley's playing
Barkley had
decent.
a lot better game. I mean, if you started him in fantasy, which I almost didn't, but if you did, you more than likely won your game. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with an upset here in the Giants.
I wanted to, but I'm still gonna stick with Dallas because I look at yes, their defense is playing good. They've got the better team, in my opinion.
Sometimes it takes more than that.
Doesn't matter though. That doesn't always matter. But
Jason Garrett is gonna come back into Jerry Land since he's the Giants' offensive coordinator and show them why they shouldn't have fired him.
or does he throw the game?
Probably the latter, but we'll see. Let's move on to the next game. We have an NFC West showdown. We have a possibly Trey Lance led 49ers
Possibly,
heading
I thought he
to.
is the starter.
I've heard reports that, it's still kind of up in the air. Unless I missed something. I probably missed something. but they're going to the desert to play the Arizona Cardinals. This is tough, only for the fact is we kind of don't know what to expect with a kind of full game plan Trey Lance.
Yeah,
But
I mean, he's still so green.
and we're talking about the Cardinals here, the last undefeated team. That kind of it's like how long can they be? It's a divisional game. The 49ers beat them last year, ruined their playoff odds, but that was last year. These are two completely different teams.
It's a tough one. I don't know.
It's a tough one,
I gotta
but
go Arizona
yeah, I think I'm gonna go Arizona here too. I just
based on weapons,
Yeah, Kyler's been
defense,
playing
and
really
offense.
well, and that 49er secondary's a little banged up. So I feel like this is a good week for the Cardinals with weapons. So
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how the protection holds up if Bosa and the rest of that crew can't get their hands on Murray.
then you take
And
J.J. Watt though too. So
yeah, J.J. Watt and
Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones going against Trey Lance. Yeah, that's the more I see it, the more I want to pick the Cardinals. But
Now this next game seems like the game of the week to me.
I was going, yeah, I feel like, it definitely could be. We got Sunday Night Football, Bills at the Chiefs.
This is a playoff game.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I mean, Bills are, other than the Browns, are looking like, and the Chargers are looking like, that red hot team in the AFC. Chiefs has kind of struggled a little bit, but they're still the Chiefs. They can still put up these high scoring games. So, it's going to really come down to
So can Buffalo though.
exactly.
And
That's what
they're
I
the
was.
more complete team, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
and kind of what I was going to say was it's going to come down to who's going to be able to put the most points up. This is a tough one. I keep talking about these home games, and when we're talking about Kansas City, it doesn't really get much better when it comes to having a home field advantage.
I'm gonna go with Buffalo. They're just more of a complete team in my book. Their defense is way better than the Chiefs, or
Yeah,
at least on paper, it's shown it. But I mean, the Chiefs do have some talent floating around there, but they don't show it on the field a lot.
yeah. I think I'm gonna go KC here, Kansas City. Um, I just prime time Patrick Mahomes. He hears all these things about how his team's struggling. I think that's gonna put some pep in his step, and I see this being a really good game for Kansas City.
I mean,
I
when
mean,
you
this is
have
gonna be a
Patrick
good game. This is
Mahomes, it's
gonna
tough.
be an electric game. I feel like offensively, you know, another kind of betting one. Maybe hit the over. I don't know what the number is. I'm sure it's a really high number,
Yeah, it probably is.
but maybe it's another one where you go over. But yeah, this should be a really fun game.
Yep.
But let's look at the last game of the week. Monday Night Football. Unfortunately, no Manning cast for what will be the second week in a row. I don't know about you, but I'm really liking that, especially with the
I
guests they
liked
have
it, but
on.
it's distracting as well.
Well, you got to think of it. It's not them, it's not like a play by play thing. It's more just
I
like
know,
you're
but I
sitting on the
watched them
couch
more than
watching
the
this with Peyton
game.
Manning.
I
Yeah,
watched them more than the game.
I mean, sometimes that's, depending on the matchup, good. There might be some parts where, but at the same time, you got to think Peyton Manning's watching the heck out of that game.
I mean, if you don't, you can be a person who never liked them as players, but you have to appreciate them when they're doing this. It's fun. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it is.
I mean, that's kind of how Peyton and Eli have always been. Whether you've liked them or hated them as players, which if you hate them as players, you must be from New England.
No, well, what about a lot of it could be the whole NFC
Yeah, they're
East,
yeah,
but I just think you have to block that out, and I just found myself getting very distracted and watching them on the side of my TV instead of the game.
yeah. It is kind of hard sometimes to balance them out, but we don't got to worry about that this week. But this week, speaking of Peyton Manning, we have his old team, the Colts, going against the Baltimore Ravens
Well, since you're the
in
hometown guy,
Baltimore.
you go first.
You know, this one's a tough one. You have this Colts team that's kind of been struggling a lot lately, but they've played well against some really good teams. But those were kind of at home where they struggled. And primetime Ravens so far have been played really well. Yes, that those injuries on defense have been a struggle, and it's still question marks. But can the Colts run defense, which is pretty good, Darius Leonard and crew, can they stop that what 10-headed monster of running backs, and I don't know if they can. Or if they do, will that secondary be able to keep up with those? It's a tough matchup. I feel like it's with both teams' strength and weaknesses, it matches up fairly well.
I don't. I just. And actually, this has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson because I can be kind of biased towards him sometimes. Baltimore always is a competitive team, but this year they're more blah than normal to me.
But they're
They just
still
are.
really competitive. I feel like. I mean, even through all their injuries, they beat Kansas City in a really tough matchup, which they looked like was going to be somewhat of a blowout early.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't like either quarterback actually, but I'm gonna go Indy.
I want to pick the Colts. I do. I just kind of want to see more out of them first. I haven't really been able to watch a lot of their games.
If Wentz gets time to pass, they win.
Yes, which
The Ravens D line isn't elite, but that's not bad.
no. I gotta go Baltimore.
I figured.
I
But
I yeah.
we got a nice variety of what our picks are this week, though. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of what happens when you have these tough back and forth matchups that can go kind of either
I mean, if
way.
you look at this week, there is. Let's see. Look at it. There's potentially a couple playoff matchups
Oh
that
yeah,
we'll see,
definitely.
like the Cleveland Chargers,
Oh yeah. I mean,
Buffalo, Kansas City.
mhm.
You could, depending on if San Francisco can figure things out, which I don't think they will. So
49er, yeah.
I don't. That's a maybe. You know, you could.
Colts Ravens you could call if cuz the Colts could easily win that
It's still
division.
early. It's still early in the year.
Oh
So,
yeah, Rams Seahawks.
yep,
Broncos Steelers could be, but doubtful, especially with the way Steelers have been playing.
yep. I mean, you could Carolina, Philly, if Philly were to get things moving.
But more than likely no.
Yep.
But that's the games of the week this week. It's going to be a fun week. There's games. There's some fun primetime games. There's some early games. London game. It'll be a fun week. But let's move on to the next segment in our Add a Legend. If you're new, we look at teams and their how they currently are, and we look back at some of their past and see maybe who from a team who has played for a team could help them, play a lot better or even potentially win a Super Bowl. And so we like to look at players who are retired. So no Tom Brady can't go back to the Patriots, and I let's make sure we're looking at players who played well for a team. So they've been there for at least like 4ish years. So this week we're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, and Brett, who do you think just gives them an X factor
I think
to
it's
make
Chad
them
Johnson. I just
okay?
think okay. I think talent wise, he's prove. Well, they got a lot of young guys, so I can't say he's better, but the energy he brings to the team
Oh yeah,
is what they're lacking. I mean, I know they might need some other positions more. I just feel like they're a very low energy team.
yeah. I mean Burrow, Burrow at times brings them a lot of energy, but yeah, I kind of agree. It is seems for how good they've been playing, it does somewhat seem like a low energy team. I can't really say how certain I am of that
I haven't
saying, but
seen I haven't seen their games all their games 100%. So, but that's just my opinion. You know, that's how what I see.
oh, and yeah. Plus, you're giving Burrow just another weapon to throw to. He has a lot of receivers, but giving him Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson, whatever. I mean,
Whichever one you want.
yeah. But yeah, he's a good player. The situation I have with that is, they do have a lot of good receivers. They went out and drafted Jamar Chase. They have Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. So you're really leaving out a position that
You
people
leave
thought they
Boyd out.
should have drafted this last draft. A lot of people were going back and forth if they should get Jamar Chase or the left tackle Penei Sewell. So for mine, I feel like they are okay missing Penei Sewell and get what some people say is one of the greatest left tackles of all time in Anthony Munoz.
I mean, that's a just talent wise, that's a better pick. But I
Yeah.
just look at energy. But I'm not
Oh
that
yeah.
familiar with Munoz, so
Oh, I
I
mean,
can't.
he's he played for 13, 12 years in Cincinnati, was a 9-time first team All Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler, part of the 80s All Decade team, which, 80s was a different time, but still, that man is really good. And I mean, whenever you look at teams and they have not a lot of Hall of Famers, and he's the only Hall of Famer they have, and this team is, Cincinnati isn't a really young team, so they've been around for a while. For him to be their only Hall of Famer and considered like the greatest Bengal ever, and you don't just get to add the greatest Bengal ever, but you add him on a position that's really a need because
Yeah,
Burrow's been pressured a lot lately. So give him a for sure blindside left tackle. That helps immensely.
it does.
Yeah, I feel like both of these are really good picks, but it's either way it's about helping Burrow out, and
Oh
both
yeah.
of these positions help that and help give him another level of what people expect from him. He's a number one pick last year, and he's been playing really well, and that's why they're 3-1 right now. But that's all we got for you today. Make sure to follow us on all our socials, Instagram, Audible.
Smash that like button.
Oh yeah, no matter what you're doing, where you're doing it, smash a like button. Just smash it. Get a hammer and just go to town on it. But
Don't break your devices though.
oh,
Then you can't
yes,
listen to
we
us.
are not legally liable for any devices broken. But speaking of socials, why don't you go ahead, follow the Instagram, Audible Sportscast, Twitter, Audible SC. We have a Facebook group. Why don't you go ahead and go follow that? We're going to start maybe posting some questions and stuff, some little debate stuff, some stuff like that. And
Post
then,
anything you want.
oh yeah. But those, go follow us on there. It's Facebook, the Facebook's Audible Sportscast, like the Instagram. And yeah, just make sure you're liking, commenting, subscribing. Hit that bell notification on YouTube if you're watching it elsewhere. Leave a little feedback for us, what we need to work on. And if you think we're not doing a good job, or you think we should be talking about something else, just come on. Come talk to us. Have a little debate with us. We'd love to debate someone on any kind of sports topic, at least ones we know about. So don't be a hockey person because we don't know hockey.
Don't be shy.
But come on and talk about hockey. Maybe let us learn some stuff about it. If you're into hockey, I don't really know a lot of people into hockey, but still do it. You're always welcome. So just
Or White Sox baseball if you want to
oh
talk
yeah, and
about
hey,
it.
that's coming up. It's playoff time. It's October, baby. Do what you want. Come listen, have a good time, feel some vibes. Have a good weekend, everybody.